Derby's First Bath by Curio123. Derpy Hooves was just 4 months old when she had her first bath. Before that, it was her mother's natural instinct to clean her by laying her clean and breastfeeding. But soon that instinct goes away. So naturally, bath time. Derpy's mother walked into the bathroom and turned on the water in the bathtub. Once the water was running, she walked over into the living room made of clouds, as well as the rest of the house. She walked in and saw Derpy on the ground. 4-month-old Derpy did not know how to walk or talk yet, so she crawled everywhere and muttered nonsense. Derpy was busy playing with her little toy train. She loved that toy. She would spend hours and hours just rolling it across the floor and crawling to go get it, only to roll it again. Her mother walked up to her and picked the baby up. Derpy started to whimper as she was in the middle of playing with her toy train. Seeing her daughter whimper, Derpy's mother picked up the train with another hoof and handed it to Derpy. Baby grabbed the toy with both hoofs and put it in her little mouth. A smile emanated across the baby's face. When she reached the bathroom, Derpy's mother set her daughter down on the ground, made of clouds. In this room, the clouds were pretty thick. Derpy started to sing into the clouds, but not deep enough for her to be in trouble. Confused, the baby surveyed her surroundings. Derpy started to whimper again, as she didn't know where she was at the moment.
Shh.
Said Derpy's mom.
It's okay.
She said softly. Derpy's ears suddenly went up as the sound of running water entered her ears. Using all the intelligence of her 4-month-old filly, she started to look for the source of the strange and elusive noise. Derpy started crawling towards the noise. When she bumped into the bathtub, the baby looked up in confusion. Derpy's mother was chuckling to herself while all this was happening. It was all just too cute. But finally, it was time for serious business. So she picked up Derpy.
Look, Derpy.
Her mother said with a playfulish tone.
What's that?
Derpy cocked her little head sideways. Inside the bathtub was a small thing poking out of the wall, which had water pouring out of it. Inside the actual tub, the water seemed to be rising more and more. Derpy had never seen such a sight before in her 4 months of life. After letting Derpy examine the bathtub for a moment, her mother put a hoof in the water, making sure it was the right temperature. After all, she didn't want to burn her little baby. No pony likes burnt babies. When she made sure the water was just right, she placed Derpy into the water. Derpy's reaction was expected by her mother. Once Derpy saw herself being put into the water, she started to squirm. What was her mother doing? Why is she being placed in this mysterious liquid? Many questions went through her little mind. When her little feet touched the water, Derpy got the urge to kick. Her legs lashed out, splashing water onto her mother.
Oh, Derpy.
Mother said in a joking voice. She finally put Derpy completely into the water. Derpy felt a surge of warm liquid surrounding her tiny body. She shivered for a second, not used to the feeling of being in water. But finally, she became more relaxed. The water felt really good to her. She had never experienced something like this in her 4 months of life. Derpy's mother placed the toy train in the water with Derpy. Immediately, the baby picked it up and played with it, dropping it in the water a couple of times. After about 5 minutes of playing in the water, Derpy's mother finally began to speak.
Okay, sweetie, time to get you washed up.
She said, smile across her face. She picked up a bottle of baby shampoo, which was laying next to her on the sink cabinet, and squirted some of the soap into her palms. After rubbing her hooves together a couple of times, she put her hooves in the water and started to rub Derpy's gray fur with the shampoo. Derpy suddenly jumped at the feeling of the cold shampoo on her soft fur, but after a while she got used to it. Derby's mom washed her daughter's entire body until Derby was completely covered in white foam. After using a bucket to wash off all the shampoo of Derby, she picked her up again and set her on a towel that was laying on the ground. Natural instinct took over as Derby shook herself violently, trying to shake off all the water that remained on her. Water flew all over the place, leaving Derby's mother wet once more. Once Derby stopped shaking herself, she was a big puff of fur. She looked like a cat after a bath. Derby's mother picked up another towel and covered Derby with it. She started to rub the towel, wiping off all the water on Derby. When she was completely dry, Derby started to crawl out the door and into the hallway. Derby's mother followed her as the baby crawled into the living room. She started to curl up into a ball and lay on the ground. Before Derby could get comfortable, her mother piced her up and sat on the couch. With Derby in her lap, she laid her head back and relaxed after a long 10 minutes of Derby's first bath. Derby walked around in a circle until she finally felt comfortable. The baby then lay down and went to sleep. Derby's mother looked down to see Derby finally asleep. She smiled as she thought about how the rest of the day would go.
Sorry, maybe I can make her favorite baby food for dinner, she thought. Sorry, I
And
have that
when
muted. And when my husband gets home, maybe we can go for a walk in the park.
she said in her mind, but all that would be for later. She was way too tired to think anymore. She leaned her head back and closed her eyes. Derby's mom finally drifted off to sleep for herself. Derby had done so well for her first bath. The end.